Who made the mountains? Who made the trees? Who made the river flow to the sea? And who sends the rain when the earth is dry? Somebody bigger than you and I. Who made the flowers bloom in the spring? And who made the robin songs to sing? And who hangs the moon and the stars in the sky? Somebody bigger than you and I. He lights the way when the road is long. He keeps you company, and with his love guide you. Oh, he walks beside you, just like he walks with me. And who made the river flows to the sea? Somebody bigger than you and I. High praises to Yahuwah Elohim Most High. 6 days have now ended since YAH'S Sabbath of the first quarter of the moon of the third biblical lunar month, SIVAN. 6008. And I am out here, and the Sabbath is already here. It is dark. Yes, the moon should be visible, but it would seem that something strange is happening. Yes, as the countdown for Grandmaster J Court Day that is taking place, that is to be held on YAH'S Sabbath of the full moon. I am actually scanning the sky to see the moon, but it's not seen. I am thinking, first of all, it is YAH'S Sabbath, and Yah command Israel to keep his Sabbath day holy. Almost all of our lives, we taught that Saturday was the Sabbath because counting from the day they call Sunday to Saturday, we definitely get 7 days. But as we now realize that your Sabbath is definitely determined by each new moon, and we have discovered that Israel kept YAH'S Sabbath, the 7-day Sabbath, as well as the new moon. And I'm going to read something for us which will definitely show that this is so. I'm going to read Amos. And Amos is now talking to Israel. And if we notice, we will see that the scripture is all about Israel, Yahuwah's chosen people. The scripture is addressed specifically to Israel. And this is what it says. This is what the sovereign Yahuwah showed me. A basket. Yes, I'm going to let us see the word for ourselves. This is what the sovereign Yahuwah, you will see Lord, but it's the NIV, which is Yahuwah, showed me a basket of ripe fruits. What do you see, Amos? Huh? He asks. A basket of ripe fruit. And I answered. Then Yahuwah said to me, the time is ripe for my people, Israel. I will spare them no longer. Declares the sovereign Yahuwah. The songs in the temple will turn to wailing. Yes, many bodies flung everywhere. Silence. Hear this, you who trample the needy and do away with the poor. Yes, Yahuwah have found Israel guilty of trampling the needy and the poor of the land. And this is what they say. Here, this is who trample the needy and do away with the poor in the land, saying, when will the new moon be over? Do we hear this? When will the new moon be over? This is showing us that the new moon is a worship day, that we may sell grain, and the Sabbaths to be ended, that we may market our wheat. So the new moon and the Sabbath were worship days, and Israel at that time could not wait for the new moon to be over and the Sabbath to be end, so that they could oppress the poor, skipping the measure, boosting the price, cheating with dishonest scales, buying the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of sandals, selling each sweeping off with the wheat. Yahuwah has sworn by the pride of Jacob, I will never forget anything that they have done. When will not the land tremble for this and mourn? And all who live in it will mourn. The whole land will rise like the Nile. It will be stripped up, then sink like the river of Egypt. In that day declares the sovereign Yahuwah, I will make the sun go down at noon and darken the earth in broad daylight. I will turn your religious feast into mourning and all singing into weeping. I will make all of you wear sackcloth and shave your heads. I will make that time like the mourning, like mourning for an only son, and the end of it like a bitter day. Well, this is just pointing out that Yahuwah was very upset and angry with Israel because of the way they treat the poor and the needy of the land. So here we see that the new moon and the seventh day are worship days. I would just urge us to remember Yahuwah's Sabbath day, to keep it holy, because Yahuwah's Sabbath is definitely a sign between him and the children of Israel forever throughout their generations. Well, as we know that the countdown for Grandmaster J court day is almost here, and it will be on YAH'S Sabbath. I am thinking of how Yahuwah's people have been treated by the pharaohs of this world. And I am encouraging Israel not to be afraid of the outcome of tomorrow on Grandmaster J's court day, because I am positive that Yahuwah will stand up for his anointed servant, Grandmaster J. From the priestly tribe of Levi, we have noted that the other nations, and sometimes even Yahuwah's own people, Israel, do not like truth. And just like just like Gadriel, they rather lies. And Yahushua was right when he says, you are of your father. Well, the scripture said the devil, but it is Gadriel. He was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. And so are those who serve him. They rather lies. We have Grandmaster J teaching Yah's people truth and righteousness, which has been hidden by Rome and the Greek translators from the Hebrew scriptures. And he come teaching directly from the ancient Hebrew scriptures. And because of this, the system have lied and charged him falsely. This brings to my memory when Aaron and Miriam begin to find fault with how Yahuwah communicate with Moses. They were finding fault about the Ethiopian woman that he married, that Moses married. And they were complaining that Yahuwah speak to Moses while Yahuwah did not speak to them. And so Yahuwah's anger was kindled against Aaron and Miriam. And Yahuwah summoned them to come before him at the gate, at the door of the tabernacle. And Yahuwah said, weren't you afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Yahuwah said, if there is a prophet among you, I will speak to him by dreams and by visions. But my servant Moses, him will I speak to face. And so Yahuwah struck Miriam with leprosy. And Aaron asked Moses to pray that Yahuwah would heal Miriam of her leprosy. But Yahuwah says, if your father have spit in your face, would you not have to remain out the camp for 7 days? And so Miriam was shut out of the camp for 7 days. And Numbers 12 tells us that Israel was not able to move forward until Miriam was recovered of her leprosy. And so I would ask those who lied on Grandmaster J, Yah's anointed servant, weren't they afraid? Are they not afraid of the judgment of Yahuwah? Well, I am looking for Yahuwah to stand up for Grandmaster J. And I'm saying to Israel, all Hebrew Israelites, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Stand still and see what Yah will do on behalf of Grandmaster J. When Moses saw, when Pharaoh eventually let Israel go, Pharaoh had a change of heart and decided that he would pursue Israel. And that is what he did. And so when Israel looked behind, Israel saw Pharaoh and his chariots coming towards the sea, towards the Red Sea, where they were approaching. And they began to be afraid and start to murmur against Moses that it would have better for them to remain in Egypt. And now Pharaoh is coming against them. Moses say, I think Yah said, why are you crying to me? See that Israel go forward. And Moses said to Israel at that time, stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. The Egyptians that you see today, you will see no longer. And I would say that is what we need to do. We are to stand still and see what Yah will do on behalf of Grandmaster J and all Israel. Yes, Israel have been suffering at the hand of this system. Our Hebrew brothers and sisters are being killed, murdered without no form of justice. And Yah raise up Grandmaster J to teach his people so that his people can be ready for our second Exodus. And the system arrest Grandmaster J in his home, and he has been, as it were, silenced until now. So Yahuwah work is being hindered because this system is afraid of truth. This system is afraid to let Israel unite and to let Yah's people go. I would encourage Israel not to be afraid. Yahushua HaMashiach, the Messiah, suffered from this very system. He was lied on. He was brought before Pilate and before Herod. And it was Pilate who said, I find no fault in this just man. And Grandmaster J is in the same position. There's no fault in him. Yet he is being singled out because he preached truth and righteousness. And this system is afraid of truth and righteousness. But Yahuwah's people need not be afraid, because Yahuwah will stand up for his people. It was Yahushua who said, no, that I could have called the Malikim and destroy this earth, but he chose to remain on the tree. He chose to remain there because he was fulfilling the word of Yahuwah. And so we would ask that we Do not fear, because Yahuwah will set his servant free, and Jacob will return and have rest and have security, and no one shall make Israel afraid. I'm going to look to see if I can find something from the word quickly to let Israel know that we are Yahuwah's peculiar people, and Yahuwah will stand up for us, and we need not fear. We need not fear at all, because our deliverance is sure. Our deliverance is sure. I'm gonna see if I can find something in the dark to read to us. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what we can find to read. Oh yeah, this is a good scripture to read. Yahuwah said to Israel, "Do not fear, O Jacob, my servant. Do not be dismayed, O Israel. I will surely save you out of the distant places, your descendant from the land of exile. Jacob will come again and have peace and security, and no one shall make him afraid. Do not fear, O my servant Jacob." So I would say to Grandmaster J, do not fear. I am with you, declares Yahuwah. Though I completely destroy the nations among which I have scattered you, I will not completely destroy you, but I will discipline you, and I will not let you go entirely unpunished. So Yahuwah promised to deliver Israel, and Yahuwah has anointed Grandmaster J to assist in the deliverance of his people. But this system is trying everything to hinder Yahuwah's word from coming to pass. But Yahuwah's word will come to pass, and Grandmaster J will be free, and Israel will be delivered. One more let's take another look at Isaiah. Isaiah 11. And there is no getting away with it. Yes. Verse 11. This is different. Yes, in that day the rod of Jesse will stand. In that day Yahuwah will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the remnant of his people from Assyria, from the lower Egypt, and from upper Egypt, and from Elma, and from the island of the sea. He will raise a banner for the nation and gather the exile of Israel. He will assemble and scatter the people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth. Yes, Yahuwah will gather his people. Let's not be afraid. Let's not be afraid of what man can do to us. Yahuwah will save Grandmaster Jay, and Yahuwah will save Israel. Yes, this is your set apart Sabbath of the full moon. SIVAN 15th 6008, and YAH'S Sabbath falls and falls on Wednesdays for 4 weeks on Rome's Gregorian calendar. Yes, Yah promised that he will save Jacob. The house of Jacob will be like fire, and the house of Yoshif as a flame. The house of Esau will be stubble, and they will set it on fire and consume it. There will be no survivors for the house of from the house of Esau, says Yahuwah. People from Nigal will occupy the mountain of Esau, and the people from the foothill will possess the Philistine. Yes, this is your Sabbath. Let us not be afraid what men can do unto us. Let us remember your Sabbath to keep it holy. Revelation 22 verse 14, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter through the gates into the city. Be not afraid, O Jacob. Be not afraid, Grandmaster J. Yahuwah will deliver you, and Israel will be delivered as well. Eat to us, oh, eat to us, a sign shall be